Alright, so this is gonna be a fucking another long one. I know I've been doing a lot of videos on these, but you know, truth's gotta get out there, so let's take a look what else is going on. Saw some fucking new updates, we're still like fresh to the punch. You know, within the same 24
To the
hours.
friends in the West and the people of Pakistan,
I have a message for my friends in the West. India and Pakistan are not the same. Don't.
I could have told you that because they have
myself,
different names. I knew that.
Make that mistake because it is inconvenient for you to think about us properly. India is the largest democracy in the world.
It's a lot of people.
On the other hand, Pakistan is a known harbor to terrorists
like Osama bin Laden, exactly, and Hamas and the Houthis. Yes, we know, brother. You're not. What's up, brother? You're not telling me anything I don't know, brother.
Masood Azhar. India has safely protected the culture of Hindus, of Sikhs, of Muslims, of Jains, of Zoroastrians, of Buddhists, of Jews, and of Christians.
Yeah.
For as long as time.
Yeah.
Pakistan has purged every single minority population.
This is why I won't fucking, hesitate to spread the truth about this shit, dude. To put the record straight, dude. You can't mix everybody in with the rest, dude, you know? Not all these people are the same, man, you know? Like, some people actually just want to get along and, fucking get over this whole stupid war shit, dude. Some people just want to live their lives in peace.
To the point, Fraser.
Is that true? Let me look this up.
Yeah, for the most part, it's true.
What percentage of Pakistan is each religion? Let's find out. Huh.
No Jews there.
Is it against the law to be non-Islamic?
Yeah, literally.
Pakistan?
I guarantee you, if you typed in, "Are there any Jews in Pakistan?" it'll just be like a flat no. Actually, let's do this shit ourselves. I might be wrong about this, but I'm gonna highly guess, educated guess, that there are no Jews in Pakistan. Oh, there are. I was wrong. There are a small number of Jewish people residing in Pakistan. Although the community has dwindled significantly over time. As of 2019, estimates indicate that less than 200 people live in the country. Yeah. Try 2025. Not available for this fucking... Not the... What was that 2025 shit? There's like nothing really that would satisfy it to be an answer. Yeah, almost all left. I mean, there is something here that says Jews almost all left. So it was like partially right.
It's not against the law. However, there are important nuances. Blasphemy laws, Akadiyya status, social and legal challenges, public office restrictions. Okay, so you can only run for office if you're a Muslim. Okay, so all right, yep, okay, yeah, seems like that's pretty much what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, that's a yes in multiple words. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, literally.
And let's look at
it's just word salad.
What percentage is each religion in India? Okay. So 14%, definitely a better ratio.
Definitely a better ratio.
India's religious composition varies significantly by state. Well, the AI told us this is true, so it's obviously got to be true. And so get ready. Well, hey, we gotta find out what's actually going on. Population is important too. The population is important.
The population is important.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's not even discuss that, all right?
All right, Bobby.
India's claim is that it is responding to an 80-year long history.
You know what? It's crazy
Yeah.
how many 80-year-long history wars we have going on right now. I can think of 3 right off the top of my head.
Yeah, literally.
Of terrorist insurgency,
Yeah, 80 years ago, some stupid shit must have happened.
directly supported and executed by the Pakistani government, by the Pakistani army, and by its intelligence. Pakistan's claim is that India did a false flag and killed its own people, Hindus particularly.
So India
Oh,
blew
yeah?
up its own people so they could attack Pakistani civilians and accidentally kill a bunch of known terrorists. Okay, right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
start a war. For what?
These are the same people that are just. Well, check social media if you want to find out what's true or not.
Yeah,
And, oh,
literally.
by the way, look at our social media. This is a video game footage
Oh man, dude.
of us beating India.
Sounds like people talking about the dancing
It's not-
Israelis.
It's like, you know, they've really got to get better propagandists on this. They do.
Yeah, they do.
Like, these guys are amateurs. They don't
Yeah,
even know
these
what the
guys
hell
suck.
they're doing.
They need to
It's
get
so
good.
transparently bullshit.
It's like they're
not
still
even
fat
funny.
rolling. Like an Elden
Pakistan
Ring.
occupied Kashmir and India occupied Kashmir.
Yeah.
It is Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Jammu and Kashmir, which is an integral part of India since 1947, some part of which Pakistan invaded and annexed. Don't fall for this false equivalent.
Wait, what? So Pakistan annexed. Wait, what? Did Pakistan annex part of Kashmir?
Yeah, fact check. You want to fact check that, Asmund?
Did this happen? Yes.
I said yes. Oh man.
Oh my God.
Illegal weapon violating stance of international respect. The United Nations recognize Kashmir as a disputed territory and not fully annexed by either nation. Ceasefire. What's so good about Kashmir, though?
They did first. Yeah. Do not redeem.
Why do they keep fighting over that place?
Bro, they redeemed Kashmir. Oh my God. Well, there we go. Okay, so it seems like that's happened. All right, India has annexed Kashmir part of as well. Yes, okay, that's a great, yes. Has India annexed part of Kashmir? That's actually, India controls part of it, but it, so there's, okay,
Was
so
that actually
that's
pulling
not-
up the
all right,
Carfax? Damn.
well, was it?
Yeah, there you go.
annexation?
So fucking.
Okay, so it's debated.
Pakistan
whether
is
it's
the culprit here,
annexation.
dude.
But with the Pakistan
Villainous
one, it's
name to
really
their
not
cores.
even debated. Okay, so maybe they did, maybe they didn't. It's hard to say. Let's call this one a wash. All right. You've got so many other examples. Why go with the one that's contentious?
Yeah.
We are responding in defense, and we are doing well.
It
Yeah.
seems that way.
I would agree. I could concur. I could concur
If you
this.
cannot support us, get out of the way. We will handle our business, and you will see us do it gracefully and skillfully. To the
Yeah,
people
that
of
they are. I'll
Pakistan.
give it that. I'll give it them.
Yeah.
They're not even asking for help. They're just telling get the fuck out of the way if you're not gonna help.
The pause.
I could get
bro.
behind them.
The fucking pause. Oh my God.
Yeah, this guy, dude. This guy
We
knows
do
what's
not
up.
fight against US people.
No.
We fight against your flawed identity. The identity that you so proudly wear. An identity that rests on your desire to disturb our peaceful existence
yeah.
without you. We fight against repeated crimes you've supported and executed on our people, on our soil.
Damn.
2008,
Dude, I'm not even fucking. I have like literally no horse in this race, dude. Like I'm not, Middle Eastern or nothing like that. Like I have no affiliations to nothing. And even I could see like the fucking bullshit that Pakistan is doing, dude. Like what the fuck, man? You're literally like not fooling anybody, bro. Like, what? Like, dude. Like, it's like, I don't even fully support India, but it's like, I'm just fucking saying, you know, I'm just saying how it is. Like, I'm just telling you what is happening. Like, I'm not telling you to side for either side. I'm just literally telling you what is happening. And if it looks to be like, you know, one side is in the right and the other one's in the wrong, then that's completely on Pakistan's fault, because they haven't done shit. They literally haven't done fucking shit to try to defend about it. Like, the prime minister and shit, they literally just tell you, oh, dude, source, trust me, bro. Oh, dude, source, you know, check Instagram. There's plenty of media posts. What the fuck do you mean? You're the government, dude. You're the prime minister. You fucking Nimrod. Like, yo.
2016, 2019, 2025, only in recent memory. We fight against your corrupt regime. We fight against...
How many terrorist attacks?
How many
Let's look it up here.
Terrys? Look up the Terrys.
How many terrorist attacks were made against India from Pakistan? Determining the exact number is complex.
Aye.
Okay, so these are the ones he's probably mentioning right here.
Right here,
Okay.
right now. Chicken
That's
kapow.
quite a lot. Yeah, it seems that way. Estimating the total number, the 7 high-profile ones. Okay. Yeah.
Yar.
That's a lot. Yeah, that sure seems like a lot. And all right. Let's keep going. The 2008 attacks are the biggest attacks done against India by Pakistan? I guess so.
It's that regime that takes all its money and kids and places it in London and New York, so it can safely gamble with your lives for the sake of ideology.
Yeah, literally.
Man.
We fight against the regime that put Imran Khan in jail, and once Nawaz Sharif, and once Benazir Bhutto, and before my time many others. The one that wears a mask of democracy that both you and I can see through.
Yup.
That regime is our enemy, and also your enemy.
I agree with them, dude. And you know why? Because these guys don't want to just stop at, you know, as they would say, from the river to the sea, the cum bucket will be free. The chum bucket will be free. No, motherfucker. You guys just want to kill all Jews. That's why I just laugh at people that be saying, oh, the Zionist. Like, what do you mean the Zionist, dude? Do you even know what a Zionist is, dude? A Zionist literally just means that you want Israel to exist. Just to exist, and to exist as a free state. So basically what you're saying is that you just hate people that want to, you know, just exist. That's literally what you're fucking saying. So, like, to me, you just look like a fucking absolute moron, dude. That's why I'm putting this shit out there, dude. That's why I'm literally putting this shit out there, because not all of them are the same, dude. Like, I guarantee you, I could see Israel and India being great friends. Because they both just want to... I guarantee you, this shit is going to, like, spoil into, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of shit. And I can honestly see Israel and India working together, dude. Especially to defeat these fuckers, bro. Like, these terrorists that just want to, you know, antagonize fucking shit. You know, make the whole world try to fight against each other. You know, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these guys won't stop at just from the river to the sea. That's what I was originally going to say before. They're not just gonna stop at that. They want to take over the whole world, dude. They want to kill everybody. These guys literally hate everybody equally. They hate Buddhists. They hate they hate Jews. They hate Christians. They hate all of us equally, dude. Like, if they even had a second where they had the same amount of power that the United States has, we would all be gone, dude. And we would all be like fucking, you know, under their regime.
Give up on it. Reject it. India does
Like,
not
people don't want to
want-
say, you don't want to hear that shit or fucking say the truth, but that's the truth. These guys, like, it's literally in their shit that they literally want global domination. So it's like, I don't know, dude.
blood. But if blood is what takes to get peace, so it shall be.
Yeah.
Reject your establishment, denounce its evil, and move towards peace. We
But they don't
started
want
the
that
same
shit,
in
dude.
1947. And
That's
you
why
can
there's
see-
gonna be.
1947.
That's why there's gonna keep being war, because one side actually does want peace, and one side like shadow baits to, you know, make you seem like they do want peace, when in reality they just want to keep fighting and fighting until, you know, last breath.
In 1948, a lot of problems started then.
Yeah.
See the difference. 80 years since, you can see the difference.
Yep.
Move towards that.
Yeah.
We do not fight you as people. We fight you for the ideology and identity you so proudly wear. Jai Hind.
I gotta say, I think a lot of the Pakistanis probably don't even want to have anything to fucking do with this, but they can't say anything about it because they're living in a state that seems to be controlled by multiple terrorists.
And that's something that I want to clarify, and that I probably should clarify. When I'm talking about the Pakistani, I'm talking about the government, the people in charge. I'm not talking about the people, because people have nothing to fucking do with this, and most of them don't even want this shit in there. You think these people want Osama bin Laden hiding around them, or fucking, Hamas? No, because they know that they're gonna get fucking bombed soon, dude. They know that they're about to be collateral damage, because anytime a terrorist shows up in your neighborhood, it doesn't just stop at them. It's gonna be like the whole neighborhood that gets fucked, because a terrorist will use you as a fucking human shield, because they're fucking cowards. That's literally what it means to be a terrorist.
Groups. That's really what I think is going on, right? I'm not even trying to blame Pakistan's people for this shit.
Yeah, I'm not even blaming their people at all. Like, when that's why I specifically say, whenever I talk about Pakistan, I specifically mention the groups that I'm saying immediately after, like fucking Hamas or fucking the Hindu. Well, not the Hindus, my bad. The Houthis, like actual terrorist people.
Well, I mean, I'm sure some of them are bad, right? Of course. But, like, in a general sense, I mean, fuck, wrong? Well, the thing
like
is,
your
I'm
average
sure
Walmart Joe.
But, like, goddamn, and it's also not a democracy. Oh, I don't know if it is or not. But anyway, so yeah, this is happening.
Found a
Whoa.
Carjacked a Mustang, wrecked.
This is not the video. Sorry. Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a long one, so just bear with me here. I'm gonna find another video. Right here. The next
Most
one.
noteworthy interview of this conflict, in my opinion. Okay.
Oh,
wow.
God.
This has
Oh,
2 million
God.
views. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, no, we'll watch this. All right. Yeah, I didn't realize this was that big.
2 milli, 2
He's
milli,
a
2
giga
milli,
chad?
2
Yeah, I had
milli,
no
a
idea.
milli,
It's a
a
day
milli,
ago.
a
Yeah,
milli,
exactly.
a
Let me
milli.
just
I'm a
start by asking a very
millionaire. I'm
simple
a young
question.
money
Are
million
India
hair.
and Pakistan on the
Tougher
brink
than
of all-out war?
Nigerian hair.
I certainly hope not. Certainly, India has no interest in that whatsoever. All India wanted to do was to make it very clear that people from Pakistan can't just come across the border, kill innocent civilians who are just enjoying a tourist holiday, and walk back across without having to pay a price for it.
I think that's pretty fair. I do. I think that's pretty damn fair.
So all India did was react in self-defense to a terrorist outrage. And India did so in an extremely careful and calibrated manner, and making sure they struck only known terrorist bases and headquarters.
If they didn't strike known terrorist bases and headquarters, then why did they kill known terrorists?
Explain that one, Curious George.
Only at night when there were likely to be no
What?
civilians.
Are you gonna tell me that the man in the yellow hat showed
and
up?
did so while very carefully
Can he just
avoiding,
magically place them there?
striking any government or military
Like a
installations
Forge
in
in Halo
Pakistan.
3 custom?
If Pakistan chooses to stop its unnecessary provocations, India will not act. I'm quite sure about that. There is no proactive military engagement coming from the Indian side beyond the attacks in reprisal to the
Yep.
terrorism. Nothing at all.
Okay, Dr.
Great.
Thoreau, you raised lots of points there. Let
Seems
me pick
pretty
up
reasonable.
on one of them. You say
Yo,
India's
Glibidus.
response has been precise and restrained.
Yeah.
But according to the
Glibidus.
reports we've seen, children are amongst the dead in the attacks in Pakistan.
Oh yeah, because they put themselves in residential areas. They're terrorists.
On
and
purpose,
they do
yeah, they
this
don't
for
give a fuck
political
about
means.
fucking
So
civilians.
attacking them looks bad internationally.
Chat, wait, hold on. Let me finish this bowl. This is exactly what I mean when I have like this debate with like Ryan and Nick and all this shit. This is why I just laugh at them and call them terror supporters whenever they fucking try to call me an Israelite or fucking whatever the fuck. But like, bro, this is exactly Hamas's strategy to try to win this like little stupid battle they try to start. They literally hide themselves on purpose in civilian residences so in that way they can't get attacked, and if they do get attacked, they'll use human shields. So in that way the whole world will try to look at, like Israel or India like the bad guy for attacking them, dude. Like what? Like what the fuck else are you supposed to do? Just allow these guys to continuously attack you? Like maybe if the government worked, maybe if the Palestinian, maybe if the, not the Palestinian, maybe if the fucking the Pakistani government worked with India to do, operations to, get troopers in there, move in, and get these fuckers out of there, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. But no, these guys want to act and pretend like these guys aren't there, and like they didn't kill the 3 fucking terrorists that they were looking for in those compounds. And then it's just like, No, there's nothing here. No, sorry, buddy. There's nothing. No, dude, fuck you, dude. Like, what do you mean, man? Like, you're in cahoots with the terrorists. You're supporting the terrorists. So it's like, what? Like, what? This is why this whole shit is going on, because these guys are aiding and abetting these guys, and they don't want to help India. This is why this all starts, dude. Because if these governments actually worked with the government that got attacked, none of this would be happening. But since you're fucking, harboring them and trying to make it seem like nothing's happening, like, bro, I don't know, man.
So there's an additional
going on,
cost
Cape?
with attacking them. That's what they're doing. They're
Some
obviously
real shit you
doing this
talking about,
to-
man.
Yeah, bro, like that's literally the reason why all these skirmishes are happening, because these governments, like, that's why I don't care if you call me a Zionist or whatever, dude. I have no horse in the race. I don't give a fuck about either, dude. But you're not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, IDF is terrorists. They're fucking fuck the Zion. Do you even know what a Zionist is? You fucking incompetent baboon. You're literally just hating somebody because they want to exist, because they want to exist as a free state. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's just cool now, dude. It's just a trend. It's cool now to fucking hate fucking Jews, dude. Like, and it's also a trend to just support terrorists. Like, dude, this man Hassan Piker is out here comparing the Houthis and fucking and Hamas to Luffy from One Piece. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Like, what?
Losing it.
Destroyed. I mean,
Yeah, losing it, dude.
Precise and restrained.
Going
Yeah.
crazy.
These are extremely well-known terror bases, the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammed in Bahawalpur.
Yeah, like, these people think we're
and
stupid. Oh, they attack civilian residences, and then when they check the fucking the rubble and the shit from the places they bombed, they find the bodies of the actual terrorists and leaders or whatever it is that they found, like that the terrorists they were looking for. They found their dead bodies there. It was like, what do you mean, bro? Like, what was this guy just, he was just picking up some halal food? He was just there. This motherfucker was just there visiting his grandma? Are you fucking Ed? Are you Ed? Like, yo.
the headquarters of the Lashkar-e-Taiba in Muridke. These are not innocent places.
Bro, like-
If there were sadly any civilians staying there were families of terrorist leaders or those training to be terrorists. I'm really sorry to say this. There's no question in my mind that India would have been very happy to merely dismantle the terrorist infrastructure rather than even take a single human life. But the
Yeah.
fact is that these are places known and listed not just by
It's also
Dude,
really
you don't even have to tell me that it's known and listed, dude. The fact that we found the fucking Terry corpse there is enough, bro. It's like, what? Like, dude, we're not just gonna ignore it. Like, these guys have a history of harboring terrorists, dude. Like, what the fuck? We literally found, like, I don't know how many times you have to keep saying this. We literally found and killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Like, what? Like, what? This is exactly even more of a reason why I'm saying that, like, dude, if you have a history of harboring fucking terrorists like Osama bin Laden, and you know that the governments and the other countries of the world are gonna look at you funny, why the fuck are you not the first one to offer help? You just denying shit like it's not happening, and like these people aren't here, like they didn't find these corpses there. Like, bro, you just look like an actual baboon. Like, you literally just look like an idiot. You're actually just embarrassing yourself, dude. Like, just stop. Like, why are you even the prime minister, bro? Like, aren't they paying you to lie right now? Like, you're a terrible liar, dude. You're not even good at lying, cuz you literally have one job and you couldn't even do that, bruv. It's exactly as Glibidus be saying all the time, dude. It's you either get down or you lie down. What's it gonna be, Sunshine?
good point. Is that
What is it gonna
it's not like
be?
they're trying to kill
Like somebody literally gotta tell these motherfuckers, like, hey, easy, boss. Don't get upset.
the innocent people, whereas the terrorists do.
Oh, sure.
That's their goal.
Yeah, bro,
The
like,
goal
what
is
the
to kill
fuck?
innocent people for terrorists. The collateral damage is killing innocent people for non-terrorists.
Indian
Pretty big difference.
authorities, but by the international intelligence community. The agencies concerned are proscribed on the sanctions list of the United Nations Sanctions Committee. They are in no way innocent places, schools or mosques or homes. These are, unfortunately, places where terrorists are trained,
Yeah.
financed, equipped, and dispatched. to kill innocent civilians in India.
Yeah, and it's one thing if he was just saying this shit, you know, if it was like, oh, you know, dude, source, trust me, bro, like on some Pakistan shit. Oh, yeah, you know, we're not going to provide you any, you know, any type of information or actual, you know, data to back this shit up or any actual physical proof from our military. The only thing we're going to say is, hey, dude, check the media. There's plenty of posts on social media. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, you're really gonna get swindled like this, bro? Like, India's out here showing facts. They're showing the car facts. They're providing, you know, information, like, everything, dude. You're out here literally showing, like, clips from Chile, dude. And trying to frame it as, like, attacks from, like, you know, that you shot down planes from India. Like, stop it, bro. Like, that's literally a video from Chile from, like, 3 years ago. From one of their forest fires. Like, are you, like, retarded, bro? Do you think that, like, do you think that we're not used to social media? Like, we won't be able to decipher a lie? Like, we won't be able to, like, you know when you're fucking using somebody else's video from like years ago and know that that's fucking, you're trying to frame it as like, bro, like what? Come on, like you can't be serious right now, dude. Like, is this guy for real? This guy has to be for real.
That's what India was reacting to.
So you're suggesting
It's
the
crazy, my
Pakistani
guy.
government
Yeah,
sponsors these organizations. I don't know what you think the
Fucking nuts.
motive would be for Pakistan to do such a thing. They're also asking.
I mean, dude, what do you mean motive? Do you really need much of motive when you have fucking like literal like terrorist organizations chilling in the country right next door to you? Like literally, that's your neighbor. You, like what? You're just gonna be okay with that, dude? Like what? Like, do you think America would have just been okay with like fucking Al Qaeda, like, you know, just chilling in fucking Canada? Like they're a known, you know, Canada is now a known Al Qaeda state, and you know the whole fucking country is basically controlled by Al Qaeda. You really think Big Bro is just gonna let that happen? No, dude, they're getting deleted. Like what? What the fuck? Like, not even Russia lets that shit happen, dude. Why do you think they're so fucking against Ukraine joining NATO? Because they know that the minute that fucking Ukraine joins NATO, that's essentially the United States being on their front doorstep. Because that means that we can instantly just transport troops to fucking to Ukraine and basically just have outposts there and instantly deploy troops there and just fucking fuck Russia right in the ass. And Russia won't be able to do the same because there's nobody around here that would support Russia, dude. Because they know the instant that, you know, like Mexico or Canada tries to go under Russian occupation, they're getting fucking nuked, dude. And none of these countries surrounding us have nukes. We're the only country around us, for the most part, that has nukes. Like, what the fuck? Like, the minute that they try to invade, just instant deletion, bro. Like, on some MW2 shit.
every time I put this question, what's the evidence? What's
Like,
the
bro,
evidence?
like people don't like to say it, but it's true. That's why we haven't gotten invaded, dude. Because none of these, like, the closest thing that we've had was, like, Cuba and shit. You know, like, the Bay of Pigs and all that shit. And let's see how that turned out.
What's the evidence? Well, how about the fact that the Pakistani
We still didn't get
army
invaded.
generals went to the
We were just, like,
funeral of the
scared.
terrorists?
You know, like, fucking, you know, motherfuckers being scared and shit.
Like, I feel like that's kind of a pretty big one, right?
Well, as far as evidence is concerned, don't forget that Pakistan is a master of denial.
Yeah,
They deny
100%.
having anything to do
And
with
honestly, that's a fucking stretch, chat, saying that they're a master of denial, dude. These motherfuckers couldn't even, like, yo. Do I even need to say more, dude? Master of denial, yo? Like, okay, Billy. Okay, Billy Bob.
Mumbai attacks that killed 170 people on 26/11/2008 until one of the terrorists was caught alive and the Pakistanis
One
had
of
to
them
admit
terrorists.
that he and everything he said came from them. They deny even knowing where
Look at
Osama
them
bin Laden was until he
terrorists.
was found in a military encampment not far from a Pakistani
How
army
convenient.
base inside
Yeah, how
Pakistan.
fucking convenient.
Now, this is the
Them
Pakistani
terrorists,
route. It's
yeah.
constantly show us the evidence. Well, I mean, the fact is, there is enough circumstantial evidence and there are intelligence intercepts on the basis of which India is acting. And India has absolutely no other reason to do this. Let's understand something
Yeah,
very
literally,
clearly,
like, what the
Tom.
fuck?
India is a status quo power. It wants nothing that Pakistan has. It is focused on growing its economy, improving its high technology.
Damn, he
providing
literally
a
just
future
straight up
for
told
its
these guys,
young
we
people.
don't need you
It
as
is
well.
entirely happy to be left alone by Pakistan, and it'll leave Pakistan alone.
They don't give a fuck about it.
Pakistan is a
Yeah, we
revisionist
don't give a fuck about them,
It
so leave us the
claims
fuck alone and
territory
we'll
in
leave you
their
the fuck alone.
home.
And that's
It
why I
is
fuck
a
with India.
bigoted power that wishes
That's
to
why I
take
literally would rather fuck with India than fuck with Pakistan, dude. Because these motherfuckers are like, they're not happy unless, like, you know, they're ruling over you. India is just like, yo, you fuck off, we'll fuck off. You leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. And I could get behind that, dude. You respect me, I respect you. You know? There's not much to it.
over parts of India on the grounds that the people living there happen to share the same religion as the Pakistanis. Well, there are 200 million Indian Muslims who share the same religion as the Pakistanis.
That's true.
Do they want to take them all over? It's a preposterous approach that the Pakistanis have been adopting. They have been deploying terrorists for 30 years in pursuit of their desire
Of
to
just
quote, unquote,
nonsense,
bleed
yeah.
India by 1,000 cuts and to capture the territory of Kashmir.
Yeah, like, what is it? Their stupid jihad or whatever?
They're not going to get it. They're
Well, they already annexed. Pakistan already annexed part of the territory of Kashmir too. I mean, if like what I looked up earlier was accurate, it seems like it's true.
for 30 years, they're going to fail for another 30. Then the sad, sad lesson that they must learn and have failed to learn
This guy sounds like the Indian version of David Attenborough.
David
is that
Attenborough.
terrorism is not the answer. Killing innocent civilians will invite reprisals, and we're scaling up the
See what I'm
reprisals
saying? Yeah.
with each outrage. In 2008, after Mumbai, India tried diplomacy, tried grey-listing Pakistan, tried blacklisting the agencies concerned in the Sanctions Committee. Some years later, when there was an attack in Pathankot, the Prime Minister even invited the Pakistani intelligence to join the investigation of the attack. They came and they went back to Pakistan and said, oh, the Indians did it to themselves. That was the last straw. The next terrorist attack, India sent a squad across to attack the very base from which the attack had come.
Okay.
The next terrorist attack in Pulwama, India did an airstrike.
That's
just
a lot
one.
of terrorist attacks.
The next terrorist attack,
That's a-
this time in
another
Pahalgam,
one.
Kashmir, India
And
hit
another
one.
one.
How much longer do the Pakistanis want to play this game? India is prepared to play it. But India is much happier to be left alone.
But one thing you put on Twitter, I just want to ask you about it because I was curious myself. You've praised on the application X the
All right,
codename
guys,
Operation
let's stick a
Sindoor,
bong
which
rip
has
to
been
India,
launched
yo.
by India.
Cheers
You've said
to
it's
India.
a brilliant name. Just tell us why it's significant and why you think it's such an appropriate name for this military operation.
Sindoor is the vermilion reddish mark that women who are married put right there in the middle of their foreheads when they part their hair.
Okay.
And the image that was seared into the nation's consciousness after the terrorist attack in Pahalgam was of a newly wedded, now newly widowed bride on her honeymoon, kneeling disconsolately by the body of her slain husband.
Yeah.
weeping. In other words, a terrorist attack had wiped the sindoor off her forehead, because only married women wear it. It was a very emotive, emotional.
So that was the one where they killed her husband and they didn't want to kill her because they wanted her to like tell everybody what happened.
Term.
That, I
to
think that's the one
remind
he's talking
people
about.
Of what had happened and why
That's
this
100% what
action
he's
was
talking about.
necessary. That innocent civilians, including this young woman, and by the way, a few other women who were widowed in the process of the same attack, had all experienced.
Let's try to be optimistic for a moment. In a grave crisis, there is sometimes an opportunity to iron out some of these nearly 80-year-old issues that exist between India and Pakistan.
Yo,
Do you
yo.
have any
Shakes
optimism,
his head.
that we could perhaps
Just shaking his
turn
head,
this into an
yo.
opportunity?
Look, first of all, as far as the present crisis is concerned, there is no need to call upon India to exercise restraint because India is already exercising restraint. It has announced it will not initiate a single military action, but it will react if there is military action imposed upon it. So all the international community needs to do is to get Pakistan to behave, is to tell them to stop attacking. The moment they stop attacking, the moment they can find any excuse to claim their honor is satisfied, that would be the end of that.
Okay, so who
If
does-
Pakistan wants
They've also, Pakistan since then has announced that they've won the war.
war, they will get it.
Yes.
And I think very
Dude, winning the war, saying that you won the war is like one of the biggest stretches of like mankind. Like I couldn't even think of like a bigger lie, man. Like what? What are you talking about? What did you win, dude? A clown mask? Maybe.
few people
They've
doubt
already- yeah, they
which
already
of the
won.
two countries has greater
Yeah, they've
staying
won
power
and we
in a
can't even
war.
tell.
So that's on the present situation. I think the ball is entirely in Pakistan's court. They can stop any prospect of increased conflict now. India has not put a foot on the escalatory ladder Pakistan has. So that's the first and most important thing to understand. On the larger question, no, sir, we are not going to allow terrorists to allow Pakistan to get what they want, which is to internationalize the dispute and to provoke a negotiation or a mediation to get them what they want. What terrorists have failed
Yeah, if you do that, then they're just going to do more terrorism. Yeah, you
Some
can't
more
feed
terrorists.
that because then it just makes it happen more. He's
to
right.
achieve, they are not going to get. It's as simple as that. We could have talked to the Pakistanis. There have been many, many occasions we've tried to talk to them. There were the famous back-channel negotiations for 4 years between Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and General Musharraf. The truth remains, however, that every time these processes of talking have been ended by a Pakistani terrorist attack. No one in India has any inclination to talk to the Pakistanis while they're pointing a gun at our
Okay.
heads.
Dr. Tharol, who can talk to the Pakistanis
Damn.
and talk
Very
them
broad.
down from this
Well, I
situation?
mean, like, if the terrorism is such a huge problem over there, wouldn't it be like? Wouldn't the main problem be shouldn't Pakistan's military try to get rid of these terrorist organizations
Damn,
themselves?
dude, Rite Aid is shutting down all of its
Because if they
stores.
have this huge problem, and these people are putting a target on their citizens' back, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, because that's just what would make sense to me. It's like if you're against these guys, why wouldn't you want to work with India and get rid of them? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand that at all. Dude, you have no clue? Surely the obvious answer isn't the correct one. Surely it's not.
And help de-escalate. Who would they?
There's some, extravagant, crazy justification for why this actually makes sense. Surely it's not the obvious reason.
Listen to, because it doesn't sound like there's a huge amount of appetite in Washington to get even the slightest bit involved in this conflict.
The Chinese issued a very interesting statement. China is Pakistan's quote-unquote all-weather friend, and Pakistan has for some years now
All-weather
been a de
friend.
facto client state of China. China controls 30% of Pakistan's debt, on top of which you have the big China-Pakistan economic corridor running through the
China!
country, which is of some economic value to China as well. So one would assume that that is one patron the Pakistanis would listen to. China has issued a very interesting statement
So
saying
they have to tell China to make them stop.
that both India and Pakistan are their neighbors. They don't want to see a war in their neighborhood between neighbors, and
Yeah.
they would like there to be peace and understanding and calm.
Yeah, who
If
wouldn't?
China gives that message to Pakistan, that might be something Islamabad would be well inclined to heed.
Okay, and in terms of the sentiment towards the United States in India, I want to ask you about.
I
a
wouldn't
piece,
be surprised if China
You
did
gotta
try to
look up
warn
why
them and
Modi
shit.
is a racist and a fascist. He's doing this for elections. He silences opposition parties and he's assassinated their own nationals in Canada. So let me get this straight. Do you think that? Do you think? I'm just curious about this. Do you think that Modi is the one who orchestrated the terror attack that killed the 26 people? It's like a false flag. Like India went and killed their own people in
Oh,
order
God.
to.
Oh
make
god,
this
don't
look
do it,
bad?
dude. Don't even answer.
I don't know for sure.
Don't fucking do it, dude. Yeah, sure. Sure. And what are we supposed to trust Pakistan? Mr. Source, trust me, bro? Mr. Source, oh yeah, check Instagram. Like, what?
Well, if you had to guess, if you had to guess, what do you think? What do you think the probability?
If you had to guess. Yo, he's just
like, you have
baiting
to say,
him.
which side of the
No,
fence are you gonna come off
Oh
on?
my god, it smells like barbecue. Son,
Which one?
that's so good. It smells like ribs and shit.
Like, if you had to guess. I condemn the attack entirely. I'm with India on the losses of the innocent, but they blame Pakistan within the hour of the incident. You're not answering the question.
He just realized that he's an idiot.
If you had to fall off on one side of the fence or another, who do you think's responsible for the attack? Not Pakistan.
Not Pakistan and Tarantino, that's for sure.
Well, there it is. Not Pakistan.
Uh-huh,
Surely.
For sure, bro,
Surely
for
that's
sure.
not it.
For sure.
The Times of India online.
Even though as soon as Trump said, you know, if you keep giving money to terrorists, we're gonna, you know, there will be consequences. And, you know, within a certain amount of time, wouldn't you know, terrorists didn't have as much money as they did before.
Edition. It says, quote, the US Vice President J.D. Vance urges
Sorry,
restraint,
sorry.
sparking outrage. That's the headline of an article. And it suggests that India feels backstabbed by the United States. And I just wondered whether that was a perception you felt and whether it's a widely shared feeling.
As I said, I haven't actually seen that article, so I don't know what the author intended. But to my mind, we have already announced restraint. We have made it very clear that our operation was in retaliation for a terrorist outrage, and that was it. That it was, in fact, the word used in the public briefing was it was non-escalatory in nature. That India was not intending to escalate further. So you can counsel restraint all you like, you're preaching to the converted. On the other hand, tell the Pakistanis to exercise restraint, and that will be the end of that. It's Pakistan.
Yeah, maybe why don't you fucking get the terrorist out of your fucking state and, you know, see how quickly this problem will go away for you.
That somehow feels an obligation to somehow react further, having already initiated this problem with a terror attack. They want to continue to fire back at India. And as I say, if they do, India will have to give it back to them. We have our own self-respect.
Everything about this is logical, and they haven't used a single bit of video game footage to justify the attacks.
A single
We haven't
image
seen a
of video
single
game
bit of Ukraine or video game footage coming out
or
of India
Chile
yet.
footage, yeah.
But as long as
I think that's
Pakistan
notable.
decides that they're not anxious to have an all-out war, they will not be one. If, however, the Pakistani army, which is deeply unpopular in its own country, has decided that they actually do want a war in order to shore up their faltering and tottering image as the savior of the nation, then, of course, the Pakistani military will get what it wants. It gets what it wants in Pakistan anyway, and India is not going to lie back and take it lying down.
Up until this point, has there been any nuclear saber rattling, I should say, on either side that you've detected?
Well, they can't be on India's side because India has a declared, published, and long-established policy of no first use of nuclear weapons. So India would never rattle any sabers of a nuclear kind because that is the Indian policy.
That's good.
Pakistan, on the other hand, does not have such a policy and has implied that it would be willing to use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
So again,
I'm
the
pretty
ball
sure
is
there was
back.
actually a fucking tweet that said that they actually would use nuclear force. So it's like if anybody fucked with them. So it's like, bro, you basically just baited the whole world and said that you would nuke anybody if they tried fucking with you. Because you can't fucking defend yourself on your own merits without, you know, threatening everybody's existence all at once. Like, you fucking coward.
Pakistan's court. You do understand that equivalence between the two countries on any of these grounds is completely false. You have a terrorist providing state and you have a terrorist victim state. You have a state that has refused to abjure nuclear weapons on their first use. You have another state that has absolutely refused to use nuclear weapons first.
And they have said this, by the way. Like, I've seen them say this twice.
So, I mean, there is no equivalence. There is no comparison.
Okay, so where do you see this heading to?
100% on India's side. Yeah, I mean, I like personally.
Yeah, who fucking wouldn't be?
From everything that I've seen, it seems like Pakistan are liars.
Yeah.
And India are the ones that are being aggressed on.
Yeah.
And it seems like Pakistan is
Just like
sheltering
Israel.
and supporting terrorist groups that work in ways that the official military can't work. And I think that that explains why the military is sympathetic to them going to their funerals. That's the reason why.
Yep.
Like, I mean, so of course you think that? Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know. Like, and also, by the way, I have this policy. This is just something that I've learned, like, over the years, is that when somebody lies once, you shouldn't trust anything they say. And if you're already lying about, like, what you're like planes that you're shooting down, if you're lying and putting up video game footage as, like, evidence of war, like this kind of stuff, like what is this, right? I'm gonna immediately not trust you. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
dishonest
especially
aid,
when
yeah,
you're fucking
exactly.
showing me footage from like fucking 4 years ago and from a different country and trying to claim it as like a, you know, you shot this plane down, you know, stolen valor. Like what? Like, I'm definitely not gonna believe anything else you say now, especially when you haven't even showed any solid proof and you literally told me, source, trust me, bro. Go check Instagram.
Like, yeah, once a cheater, always a cheater. Exactly. So never trust Trump? What does Trump have to do with it? We're not talking
Yeah,
about Trump.
what?
Who's talking about Trump? Nobody's talking about Trump. What do you mean?
Your predictions, Dr. Thoreau.
Well, I'd like to predict that
What an
at some
actual
point,
fucking idiot.
TDS?
Well,
people in
Yeah.
other capitals will tell Pakistan, you fired enough shells, you've killed enough Indians, your honor is satisfied, lay off. And
Yeah.
if capitals don't say that to Pakistan, and they don't say it firmly enough, and I mean particularly Beijing, then indeed all bets are off, and you might well see Pakistan being tempted to escalate for very short-term military reasons in their country. I certainly hope it doesn't come to that, because in the long term, there's no way they can gain from such a conflict. They've already
gonna
earned
gain.
the opprobrium
I
of
think
the
they're
world.
trying to, like, you know, play the same strat that fucking Palestine is trying to pull. Like, you know, starting a fight with somebody you know you're not gonna win, and then, oh look, they're attacking us, we're weak. Oh, fuck off.
As a terror-providing nation, as the hosts of Osama bin Laden, as the people who spawned the Taliban, and having as
Pakistan has never had a prime minister who completed their full term? What happened to him? No, that's bullshit. There's no way I would believe that. What? No, Pakistan has never had a prime minister who completed a full 5-year term in office since independence in 1940.
Damn. That's crazy, yo.
This is the
What
closest.
the fuck? Assassinated, you know, just some
Bro,
bullshit.
can you imagine how stressed out you'd have to be? Like
Being a
like,
prime minister,
being
like
the
your life is
Pakistani prime minister, you're
is
like,
basically a curse. Like your life is limited within 5 years. Like holy shit.
fuck. Oh no. Yeah, bro, I'd be so stressed out. Oh,
I wouldn't
God,
even
it's a
risk that
shot
shit,
yeah.
dude.
Oh my God. Military influence, constitutional powers, political instability. No Pakistani prime minister has completed a full 5-year term. Oh my God. Wow.
Hillary Clinton evocatively said, having nurtured vipers in their backyard, they've been bitten by the same vipers they've nurtured. This is a country that really, really needs all the goodwill it can
Fucking
get
Hillary
from
Clinton.
the rest of the world. And for that reason, what Pakistan needs to do right now is to stop its military provocations, do not embark on any further misadventures, and let this thing die down.
Misadventures is the
India
crazy word to
certainly
use.
does not want to prolong it.
And just last, I mean, would you say in India there's unanimity on this issue right across the political spectrum? Do all Indians sing from the same song sheet here?
Very, very strongly so. And in fact, India, I mean, I speak for an opposition party, and the opposition party, the Congress party, was the first to stand up and say we stand with the government and behind our armed forces in this
That's pretty meaningful.
Yeah.
particular moment of national crisis. We
Did they
do
all
have
stand
domestic
together?
political
Yeah.
differences. Those will be
It's pretty
addressed
good.
when the crisis is over.
Yeah.
Right now, we are all united, and I see very, very little dissent.
As it should be.
Of course, there are people who
As it
prefer
should
peace
be.
to war. So does any sensible human being on the planet. But when war is thrust upon us, it would only be a coward who
Oh,
refuses to
it's
fight
thrusted.
back. And we will fight back if it's thrust upon us.
I mean, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot. Yeah, it makes sense. Yes, bro. This
Yeah,
guy
he
is a
fucking he
cheat.
went he went in there, bro.
Holy
He got shit done. Said what
this
he had
is an
to do.
excerpt from a bigger video. I'm gonna link you guys the full video if you want to watch it. But there.
All right, chat. On to the next one. Oh shit. Okay.
Pakistan says it has launched a military operation against India.
Pakistan has accused India of igniting an inferno in the region.
Tensions between India and Pakistan.
Oh wow, so
continue
China
to
gets
rise as
involved.
the two nuclear powers exchange heavy artillery.
US officials have confirmed
And I also saw one of your guys' comments that said that fucking Pakistan, and I saw you guys comment this earlier. My bad, I almost forgot. I saw one of you guys commented that Pakistan and India apparently signed like a ceasefire, but then like Pakistan immediately broke the ceasefire within like 4 hours.
Pakistan used Chinese J-10 jets to launch missiles.
India is fighting two wars right now. One against Pakistan.
I know this video is pretty long, so I'm just gonna let this play.
And another hidden.
Like I'll
silent
use the
conflict
bathroom really
with
quick.
China. You see, just a few days after India retaliated with military strikes against Pakistan's recent horrific terrorist attacks, the Chinese deep state and state media went into overdrive. Within hours of India's airstrikes going public, Chinese social media platforms like Weibo and Baidu exploded with anti-India propaganda. Hashtags like India attacks and hashtag India open fired instantly gained millions of views, deliberately framing India as the aggressor. Chinese influencers and even some official accounts pushed unverified and dramatic stories of fake Pakistani victories and supposed Indian humiliations. Claims went viral that were falsely stating multiple Rafales had been shot down in dogfights. China's puppet media, like Global Times, pushed aggressive op-eds blaming India for the entire crisis, but conveniently skipped mentioning the horrific terrorist attack on India that started it all. Editors even warned India against bullying Pakistan, openly hinting that China might have to teach India a lesson, purposely repeating the exact same phrase China famously used as a threat right before launching the 1962 Sino-Indian War. Meanwhile, some popular Chinese defense commentators went all in and started reposting old clips of PLA tanks and artillery moving towards the Indian border near Tibet. But their captions made it sound like they were fresh deployments happening right now. Even Chinese state TV jumped onto the bandwagon, making routine PLA drills look like serious direct threats aimed straight at India. That the PLA is ready to deal with Indian threats, and that Indian expansionism will not be tolerated. Now, of course, YouTube is not a fan of war-related topics, and CCP bots are not a fan of videos that criticize the CCP. So in this video, we need your help more than ever. If you can hit that like and subscribe button down below, it really does help us out with this YouTube algorithm. Okay, let's start. By expansionism, they're specifically referring to Jammu and Kashmir, an Indian state that is illegally occupied by both Pakistan and China. But the real reason China's getting nervous is because of this one specific area called the Shaksgam Valley. It's part of the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or the POK, located just north of the Siachen Glacier. You see, back in 1963, Pakistan quietly handed around 2,000 square miles of this vital territory to China through the Sino-Pakistan Agreement, something India has categorically rejected from the start. In fact, just over 1 year after that agreement, India's parliament unanimously passed a resolution clearly stating that the entire region of Jammu and Kashmir, including territories illegally occupied by Pakistan and China, specifically mentioning the Shaksgam Valley and Aksai Chin, is an integral, inseparable part of India. With tensions rising day by day, the possibility of an all-out war is very real. And if war really breaks out, then there's a strong chance that India could reclaim control over the entire POK region from Pakistan. And if that happens, Pakistan itself would likely collapse entirely. This could help Balochistan finally gain its long-awaited freedom, and other provinces would spiral into complete chaos.
Good, fuck 'em.
China absolutely cannot let this scenario happen, because if it
They
does,
fucked around and
they're
found
literally
out.
doomed. Their trillion-dollar Belt and Road Initiative, China's ambitious plan for global economic dominance, would collapse overnight.
Good, fuck them.
Not to mention that China has already poured more than $60 billion into Pakistan through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. They've constructed extensive highways, high-speed railways, power plants, industrial parks, and most importantly, Gwadar Port, a strategic hub providing direct access to the Arabian Sea. The entire purpose behind this massive investment was to secure a reliable trade route, allowing China to bypass the Strait of Malacca. This narrow passage between Malaysia and Indonesia is extremely vulnerable and can easily be blocked off by India, the US, or any other rivals during a conflict. This is exactly why the CCP is desperately trying to de-escalate the situation through diplomatic channels. They understand clearly that if a full-scale war erupts and China doesn't intervene militarily, Pakistan will inevitably fracture. But maybe that's exactly the plan. If Pakistan falls, China immediately has an excuse to step in militarily under the guise of protecting its interests and investments. Either way, for China, whether it's a direct or an even indirect war, it's already an economic death sentence that'll set them back decades. But there's another crucial reason China is terrified. Last month, around April 7th, a rumor began spreading that Apple was planning to shift its entire iPhone production out of China and into India. At first, it seemed fake, but when the CCP dug deeper, they quickly realized that not only was it true, but other global giants like Dell, Google, HP, Walmart, and several others were also planning on doing the same. That
goddamn commies
rumor sent absolute panic through the CCP. And why wouldn't it? We're looking at hundreds of billions of dollars on the line. If you've been keeping up with our videos, you know the Chinese economy simply cannot survive a blow this massive. So obviously the CCP has to do something drastic. And that's when they realized that a destabilized India would be much less attractive for these big global companies.
Oh yeah,
Guess
you
what?
think? Except you're
Within
not
just
fooling
2
anybody.
weeks, on April 22nd, India suffered the deadliest attack in over a decade. Now take a step back and look at all the events. Do you start to see this disturbing pattern? First, India is attacked, and immediately Pakistan-based terror groups openly claim responsibility. India carefully responds with a controlled, precise military strike,
Definitely
deliberately
China
avoiding
involved.
Escalation. But Pakistan doesn't back down.
I wouldn't be surprised if
Instead,
China's
they
the one who starts
dramatically
World War
escalate
III.
the conflict by launching missiles and hundreds of suicide drones on multiple Indian cities, killing several civilians and leaving dozens injured. That's an open act of war. And now India has no choice but to retaliate and escalate even further. For China, Pakistan was the perfect choice, especially given their decades-long rivalry with India. Plus, everyone knows Pakistan is basically China's pet. Imagine you're Chinese and you've got a pet that you don't particularly like or care about. It's pretty easy to
Yeah,
send it
China,
off
if I
to
ever
do
go
your job,
missing,
like attacking a
you
neighbor
know, after
you
posting these
despise,
videos,
because in the end, your pet takes
or
all
I
the blame,
kill
not
myself.
you.
No, I
And if
didn't.
anyone thinks this sounds too far-fetched or dramatic, just remember what the CCP has already done to its own citizens. Whether it's the brutal Tiananmen Square massacre, the mass imprisonment and forced labor of millions of Uyghur Muslims, or the systematic disappearance of countless Tibetans. China has shown time and time again that there are no lines they won't cross. For the CCP, companies leaving China isn't just about money, it's about survival. And when survival is on the line, they'll do whatever it takes to protect their grip on global power. Now,
100%.
after the terror attack, the CCP likely celebrated, thinking their plan worked perfectly. But just 3 days later, Apple stunned them by officially confirming their move to India anyway. Now Apple plans to manufacture a massive $40 billion worth of iPhones in India by 2026. That's around 80% of all iPhones sold in the US market. Now that China's economic game plan has completely fallen
when
apart,
I say fuck
the
China,
next
I
move
actually
could
mean
be
fuck the
ruthless
CCP and
and
not
extreme,
Chinese people.
potentially
Because they hate them
dragging
just
the
as
world
much.
into an all-out war. Now let's break down exactly how China might move against each Indian state, based on decades of think tank research, war games, and geopolitical analysis. Let's start with the obvious hotspot, the icy deserts of Ladakh, specifically the Aksai Chin Plateau, the same piece of land Beijing grabbed back in 1962. This is mainly because Aksai Chin is strategically priceless. You see, this plateau connects directly with Tibet and Xinjiang, and the lifeblood of China's military logistics flows through here, the famous Western Highway, the G219. In a conflict, Chinese
pretty
troops
cool
would likely
name, the
unleash a
G219.
classic pincer attack.
That sounds like
PLA units
a.
could flood from Aksai Chin
That
in
literally
east,
sounds
while
like
Pakistan
a fucking Rey Mysterio, finisher, the 619. Fuck.
Pakistani forces simultaneously push from Gilgit-Baltistan in the west. The combined assault would pin Indian forces down in Ladakh, cutting them off and putting critical positions around the Siachen Glacier and Karakoram Pass under immediate threat. PLA mountain brigades specialized for high-altitude warfare could exploit key strategic outposts, like Daulat Beg Oldi, India's highest, northernmost airstrip. If this airstrip falls, India's entire access to the strategically crucial subsector north could instantly vanish. And to make things worse, advanced Chinese rocket, artillery, and missile launchers stationed deep in Tibet and Xinjiang could unleash devastating bombardments directly onto Indian supply routes and bases around Leh, crippling India's ability to reinforce its frontline troops. The ultimate goal in Ladakh would be real estate. Beijing wants full control over Aksai Chin, and if possible, they might even grab some more territory south of the current line of actual control.
Yeah, like, look, this is why everybody hates China, dude. Like, you're not fucking slick, man. Look at you, dude. Trying to be right on the front lines, right? To harass India.
Securing this area would guarantee the safety of their critical highway and also fortify the China-Pakistan economic corridor. It would literally create a land bridge with Pakistan, tightening their strategic grip around India's throat. Most importantly, by launching a massive offensive in Ladakh, China would force India to pull forces away from the Pakistani front, effectively giving their all-weather ally, Pakistan, some desperately needed breathing room. The same thing happened back in the 1965 Indo-Pakistan War. China openly threatened India and moved troops near Sikkim, making India more worried about fighting in a two-front war. Only back then, Beijing stopped short of actually attacking. But today, China's military is far more capable, and that old threat could easily become a reality. And unfortunately for India, the Chinese have been preparing for this exact scenario for decades.
Like
massive infrastructure investments give the PLA a serious mobility advantage across the entire Ladakh front. China built all-weather highways, advanced air bases, and dozens of rapidly deployable, brigade-sized camps along the LAC. Beijing's best bet would be to catch India completely off guard, presenting New Delhi with an unavoidable situation before it even realizes what's happening. In fact, many analysts openly warn that between 2025 and 2030, China holds a dangerous advantage over India, a window of opportunity where their local military edge might actually be decisive enough to guarantee victory. But it's not nearly as easy as it sounds. On paper, sure, China has the numbers, but in reality, warfare rarely follows neat predictions. 100 things could go disastrously wrong for Beijing. A perfect example of this is the ongoing war between mighty Russia and tiny Ukraine. It's been 3 years into this invasion, and even today, the Russian military is stuck in a brutal and embarrassing stalemate. China could face the exact same fate, or even worse. For starters, fighting at altitudes over 14,000 feet is an absolute nightmare. Even China's highly trained mountain units aren't immune to altitude sickness, extreme weather, and logistical nightmares. And Indian soldiers aren't rookies. They've spent decades mastering this terrain. Ladakh isn't some easy battleground. It's literally one of the toughest terrains on the planet. And India has learned a thing or two from previous skirmishes. They've massively improved infrastructure, bolstered their mountain warfare training, and stocked advanced weaponry exactly for a scenario like this. Moreover, if China openly involves itself in a war against India, they're essentially gambling on a geopolitical powder keg. India isn't Ukraine. It's a nuclear-armed giant with powerful friends and strong diplomatic ties around the world. Countries like the United States, Japan, Australia, France, and the UK have openly deepened military and strategic ties with India specifically to counter Chinese aggression. China's involvement in an all-out war could immediately trigger a massive international backlash. Economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, arms supplies pouring into India from the West, you name it. Suddenly, China would find itself completely isolated on the global stage. And if China is seen actively ganging up with Pakistan to attack India, other regional powers like Australia, Japan, and Southeast Asian countries, who are already uneasy about China's aggressive moves in the South China Sea, would quickly rally behind India. You could realistically end up with an Asia-wide anti-China alliance forming practically overnight. But remember, this isn't just Ladakh we're talking about. There are still 2 other critical flashpoints that could completely change the game, each even more dangerous than the last. If Indian forces get stretched thin in Ladakh, Beijing's other offensive would come from the eastern Himalayas. We're talking about the McMahon Line, the border separating China from Arunachal Pradesh, a state Beijing deliberately labels South Tibet and stubbornly claims as its own territory. The main focus of the area would be the Tawang sector, because it's the birthplace of the Dalai Lama. Capturing it wouldn't just hand Beijing massive diplomatic leverage, it'd also help them tighten control over the restless Tibetan population. On top of that, controlling Tawang means militarily outflanking India's entire eastern defensive line.
Yeah, and the computer
capturing
chips
critical
too.
high-altitude peaks that overlook the lush, strategic Brahmaputra Valley below. And this wouldn't even be the first time. Back in 1962, China stormed through the same area. Chinese forces managed to capture Tawang at shocking speed. They held it for nearly a month before withdrawing. In an all-out conflict scenario, China would do the same. Simultaneously, Chinese troops could also launch coordinated assaults further east into places like Dibang and the Lohit Valley sectors. By forcing India's army to guard nearly 1,100 kilometers of difficult border terrain simultaneously, China makes it impossible for Indian forces to mass effectively elsewhere. Instead, Indian defenses would quickly get diluted and stretched dangerously thin. If China manages even a limited, successful incursion into Arunachal, they'd gain a devastating geopolitical bargaining chip. Imagine Beijing warning they'd withdraw from Arunachal, but only if India permanently drops its claims on Aksai Chin. But, just like in Ladakh, it's not that easy. Sure, China could easily invade Arunachal back in 1962, but back then, India was unprepared, ill-equipped, and completely caught by surprise. Today, things look entirely different. Not only are they better armed, but also battle-tested, extensively trained in jungle and mountain warfare, and dug deep into strong defense positions built up over the decades. And remember, Arunachal is thick, dense forests, steep mountains, torrential
Dude,
rivers,
that shit looks like the
relentless
fucking, like the place where DB Cooper jumped in right after the fucking, right after he robbed the fucking, the plane. Robbed him. I mean, technically he did rob him because he left with like a ransom.
rain. It's an absolute nightmare, even for the best equipped armies. Chinese troops would quickly find themselves bogged down, struggling through muddy jungle trails, constantly vulnerable to sudden ambushes from well-hidden, well-prepared Indian units. Add to that the logistical nightmare of resupplying troops hundreds of kilometers away from China's nearest reliable bases, through some of the harshest terrain imaginable. YouTube just dropped a mind-boggling announcement. It is paying creators $64 million. Okay, let's get back to the video. Speaking of logistics, India has learned its lessons the hard way. Over the past decade, India has rapidly boosted its infrastructure along the eastern border. Brand new airfields, fortified bases, hardened bunkers, and multiple new access roads are specifically designed to rush reinforcements and critical supplies exactly where they're needed, exactly when they're needed. And of course, don't forget about the massive international backlash. Once again, Beijing would risk getting bogged down in a messy, costly stalemate. Just ask Russia how well that's going for them. Now we're onto perhaps the single most dangerous region of them all. A choke point so vulnerable that if China targets it, India could literally be sliced apart. I'm talking about the Siliguri corridor, better known as the Chicken's Neck. And here's exactly where China might unleash its
what kind of fucking name is that?
proxy and Pakistan's own offspring,
hilarious.
Bangladesh. This narrow stretch of land in India's northeast, barely 20 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, is the only physical land connection between mainland India and the 7 northeastern states. Pinch this corridor shut, and India's entire northeast could be instantly isolated. China knows exactly how vulnerable this Chicken's Neck corridor is. And now, with recent major political shifts inside of Bangladesh, the odds have tilted dramatically and dangerously in China's favor. Big time. For years under Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh walked a careful line between India and China. But after Hasina's regime was overthrown, Dhaka's new leadership quickly began cozying up openly to Beijing. Massive Chinese investments have poured into Bangladeshi infrastructure, ports, bridges, even a revamped military-grade airfield in La Molinat, barely 10 kilometers from India's border. No wonder alarm bells are going off in New Delhi. With Bangladesh now openly courting China's military and political backing, India faces a chilling nightmare.
They're
a
commies.
hostile nation right on its eastern doorstep, perfectly positioned to team up with China in an all-out war. But how exactly would China exploit this volatile situation? Well, for starters, Bangladesh could simply allow Chinese surveillance teams or special forces to position themselves covertly right next to Indian territory. A small Chinese electronic surveillance outpost or surface-to-air missile battery placed discreetly in northwestern Bangladesh could threaten the entire Indian airspace over the corridor, creating a whole new war front without firing a single conventional shot. China could also deliberately reignite insurgencies across India's northeast. Remember, this region has a long history of insurgent groups, many previously supported or sheltered by elements within Bangladesh and Myanmar. In a conflict scenario, China could secretly funnel weapons, cash, and intelligence to rebel groups, instructing them to
I mean, what do you mean they could secretly? Who's to say that they aren't already doing that now, you know?
sabotage key railways, roads, bridges, and convoys supplying the front lines. This would multiply India's chaos, forcing Delhi to divert precious soldiers to internal security missions rather than frontline combat. Finally, let's not forget the northern pincer. Back in 2017, Chinese road building in Doklam, near Bhutan's Tri Junction, led to a tense standoff precisely because it would have given China a direct line of sight and access route straight down to the Chicken's Neck. Imagine if the Chinese tried to do the same. Only this, Indian forces would be focused on 2 fronts, Pakistan and Bangladesh. But at the same time, the chicken's neck isn't nearly as vulnerable as it once was. India has spent decades turning this choke point into an absolute
Yeah, I was about to say, why
fortress.
don't they just
First off,
fucking
Indian
reinforce
forces
that
have
shit?
rapidly strengthened their air defenses, deploying advanced Russian-made S-400 missile systems all along the corridor. These are the same air defense systems you've probably seen in action in videos online. The same systems that have shielded Indian cities, knocking down enemy missiles and drones effortlessly, and saving hundreds, if not thousands, of civilian lives on India's side.
Good
India
shit.
has also stationed squadrons
Good
of
shit.
cutting-edge Rafale fighter jets at the nearby airbase. These Rafales are built specifically for missions in and around the Chicken's Neck. Any Chinese or Bangladeshi air threat approaching the corridor would face immediate interception by these advanced fighter jets. On the ground, the Indian Army has massively reinforced troop presence along the entire region, placing elite infantry, armored brigades, and artillery units along the northern border and the Bangladeshi frontier. New armored battalions, heavy artillery, tanks, and hundreds of armored vehicles now stand ready to rapidly respond to threats from either direction. But even
That's
with
good.
all that said, China has plenty more reasons to
Always
think
a
twice
but.
before getting involved. They know that there's zero guarantee they'd secure a quick, easy victory. After recent border clashes, China knows firsthand just how fiercely Indian soldiers will defend every single inch of their motherland. A drawn-out war in the brutal Himalayan terrain could easily bog down Chinese troops far from their supply bases, exactly like Russia got stuck in Ukraine. A dragged-out stalemate, or worse, a humiliating bloody defeat, would completely shatter China's carefully cultivated image of strength, damaging its global prestige for decades. Diplomatically, the moment China invades India, it immediately becomes the world's biggest villain. Instantly, everyone would see Beijing as the aggressor, leading straight to the UN condemnations. And given an opportunity like this, Trump would be a nightmare for China. Trump would use it as the perfect excuse to rain down thousands of brutal sanctions on China. If China thinks tariffs and trade wars are painful right now, just wait until they experience full-on international isolation. Overnight, China would transform itself into an international pariah, triggering sanctions hell that could cripple its economy for generations. Then, of course, there's the nuclear factor, which everyone conveniently tries to ignore. Remember, India, China, and Pakistan are all nuclear-armed nations. Beijing might think it can carefully manage and keep the conflict strictly conventional, safely below the nuclear threshold. After all, both India and China officially claim no first-use nuclear policies, keeping their nukes purely as last resort weapons. But Pakistan's nuclear strategy
Yeah,
is
they didn't give
intentionally
a fuck,
vague.
dude. New Pakistan was just like straight up all like, yeah, dude. Anybody that even fucking farts the wrong way, we're gonna launch nukes at you.
Unpredictable and reckless. Any scenario that threatens India's very existence immediately raises the terrifying prospect of nuclear escalation. Chinese military planners would have to be incredibly careful. They might avoid directly capturing major Indian cities or pushing too far into clearly disputed Indian territory, desperately trying to frame their invasion as a sort of limited defensive intervention. Maybe they'd even spin it globally as restoring regional stability, pretending they're just preventing India from wiping out Pakistan. Though, let's be real, no one on Earth would buy that excuse. But regardless of how carefully China tries to control the situation, they'd constantly be haunted by the fact that one wrong move, just one small miscalculation, could trigger a catastrophic nuclear war. And lastly, economically speaking, this war would absolutely devastate China, possibly even more than India. Sure, India's economy is smaller, but it's still one of China's largest trade partners. With over $100 billion in annual bilateral trade at stake, any direct war means those trade ties vanish overnight.
They're gone.
Beyond
Bye
just
bye.
losing direct trade, India would immediately and
fucking
permanently align itself with the West,
Albiaski.
joining every possible economic blockade, international sanction, and tech
До
decoupling
свидания,
initiative already gaining
Yazayatsky.
momentum against China. International investors would instantly panic, fleeing the entire region. Shipping insurance rates through critical maritime routes like the Indian Ocean would skyrocket. Worst of all, China's lifeline, the crucial energy imports it desperately relies on, could quickly come under threat as the US and its allies impose naval blockades around Chinese waters. Beijing might gamble, hoping for a quick victory and minimal economic
Dude, I really
damage.
don't think
But if the conflict
Beijing is in like a position to gamble.
drags on for weeks or months, China faces complete economic strangulation. And the worst part, all of this economic devastation could happen.
Yeah,
with a
like
single
China
enemy
thinks
bullet
that they're
ever.
like fucking like All Might, like, you know, just trying to fucking be fighting like battles on all different fronts, dude. They're fighting an economic one with us. They're fighting like an actual. They might be fighting an actual fucking fight with India now. And then they wonder why all their citizens are revolting against them. Everybody like hates the CCP. And they're confused why they're literally getting protested against in their own country, man. Like, it's like, I don't know. I think you guys are asking for this. Damn, dude, now fucking China might get involved in this bullshit. It's like they're getting their grubby little fingers in everything. Anyways, this video has been long enough. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.